sorry, dude. Yeah, but bro, of course. That's the whole thing. We can take as much time as it takes.
Some insiders are saying that Grant Gustin's live-action Flash could finally get his own Reverse Flash, and honestly, it's about time. The fact that Reverse Flash wasn't the main villain in The Flash was a pretty strange choice, but maybe it was a strategic one. There's a chance they're saving him for James Gunn's DCEU Flash movie instead. And if that's the case, we might even see Gustin make a cameo. So, let's break down everything we know about this project so far. After playing The Flash for 10 years to great success, Grant Gustin's time as Barry Allen proves that Andy Muschietti's arguments about the Flash movie's box office failure don't really hold up. The DCEU had a string of underwhelming releases in its final year, with Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom all failing to become hits. But The Flash stood out the most, despite praise from industry names like Tom Cruise, James Gunn, and Stephen King before its release. The film was torn apart by fans and critics afterward. Issues like poor CGI, odd multiverse cameos, and a messy plot contributed to its historic box office flop, earning just $271.4 million on a $200 million budget. Andy Muschietti later tried to explain the failure by claiming that audiences just didn't care about the Flash as a character. However, this argument doesn't hold up when you consider the success of Gustin's The Flash series. Running for 9 seasons, it was the Arrowverse's biggest hit, proving that Barry Allen does have a dedicated audience. The CW's The Flash was a cultural phenomenon, with its 2014 premiere becoming the network's most-watched debut ever and the series continuing as a fan favorite throughout its run. Warner Brothers was aware of Gustin's impact, even bringing Ezra Miller's Flash into the Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover to generate hype for the DCEU movie. But when the Flash film arrived, Gustin was noticeably absent, disappointing fans who had hoped for at least a cameo. Even now, there's a strong movement for Gustin to return as Barry Allen in some capacity, whether as the DCU's main Flash or as a multiversal variant. James Gunn himself has acknowledged Gustin's popularity, stating in 2024 that he would love to work with the actor at some point. While the DCU is currently holding a beat on the Flash's next solo outing, it's possible that Barry Allen could reappear as a supporting character in other projects before getting another standalone film. With Batman, the Brave and the Bold expected in 2028, a new Flash movie might still be years away. On the other hand, since Gunn is rebuilding the DCU from scratch, he may not make Gustin's Flash the franchise's main Barry Allen. Instead, he could use him for a special multiverse cameo, similar to how Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home. That way, fans would still get to see Gustin back in action without conflicting with the DCU's long-term plans. If Gunn does bring back Gustin's Flash, he has the perfect opportunity to introduce Reverse Flash as a major villain. The DCEU never fully utilized Eobard Thawne, despite him being one of the DC's greatest antagonists. With a fresh start, Gunn's DCU could finally do the character justice, giving us an intense Flash versus Reverse Flash showdown on the big screen. Furthermore, I think that Reverse Flash not being the villain of The Flash was a very strange decision. It's a choice that, ironically, works in favor of James Gunn's DCU, as Gunn enjoys bringing new characters to the big screen. In the film, Barry's mother is killed, leading him to travel back in time to undo the tragedy. While Barry's plan initially succeeds, it ends up drastically reshaping his universe. Everything comes together by the end of the film, but in an unusual move, the movie never actually reveals how Barry's mother was killed. This omission makes it worth looking at the comics for context. In the Flashpoint storyline, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, is the one responsible for murdering Nora Allen. Given his deep-seated hatred for Barry and his relentless desire to ruin every aspect of his life, his involvement would have been the perfect way to tie up the film's mystery. Making Reverse Flash the central antagonist could have led to a far more satisfying and faithful adaptation of the story. Interestingly, it turns out that Reverse Flash was part of the filmmaker's plans, but not for The Flash. Director Andy Muschietti confirmed that Thawne was intended to be behind Nora Allen's death, but was saved for a potential sequel instead of being the main villain in the first film. Had The Flash been a box office success, it's likely that Reverse Flash would have been the primary antagonist in a follow-up movie. Of course, with no sequel planned for Ezra Miller's Flash, that storyline will never come to fruition. Still, it's reassuring to know that Thawne's presence was at least considered in the film's development. Even though he didn't appear on screen, his influence lingered over the story. It would have been great to see him in action, but now the opportunity is wide open for the DCU to introduce him in a fresh way. This actually benefits the DCU. Since the DCEU never properly adapted Reverse Flash, James Gunn's new universe has a clean slate to introduce him. Thawne could even be a major villain in the franchise moving forward. I believe it's crucial for the DCU to establish its own identity, avoiding too many direct ties to the DCEU. Gunn has been selective in choosing which characters to bring into the fold, and aside from Superman, the new universe is emphasizing lesser-known heroes like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl. Batman and Wonder Woman will undoubtedly appear, but they aren't the immediate priority. That's why I think now is the perfect time to adapt Reverse Flash. While The Flash flopped at the box office, the character remains hugely popular thanks to his successful CW show. Whether Barry Allen remains the focus or another speedster takes the spotlight, bringing in Reverse Flash as a key villain would be an excellent move. He doesn't just have to be a Flash antagonist, his time-traveling nature makes him a compelling threat for the entire DCU. On the other hand, James Gunn is rebuilding the DCU from the ground up, so it's unlikely that Grant Gustin will take over as the main Barry Allen. However, that doesn't mean he can't make an appearance. If Gunn explores the multiverse, Gustin's Flash could show up in a cameo, much like how The Flash included different versions of the character. This would allow the DCU to pay tribute to Gustin's long-running portrayal while still introducing a fresh actor for the main timeline's Flash. Gunn has been careful about restructuring the DC universe, and this approach would let him balance nostalgia with his new vision. A perfect way to bring Gustin back would be through Crisis on Infinite Earths. While the Arrowverse already tackled Crisis, a DCU version could go bigger, featuring past DC movie and TV characters, like Pattinson's Batman and other legacy heroes. Alternatively, if Blitz is adapted, Gustin's Flash could briefly appear in the Speed Force due to Zoom's time manipulations. Whether through a multiverse event or a Speed Force cameo, bringing back Gustin would be a great way to honor past adaptations while setting up a new era for the Flash. The future of the DCU is still uncertain, with Superman and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface being the only confirmed projects that have started filming. However, it's clear that the entire universe of heroes and villains is on the way. While not using Reverse Flash in The Flash felt like a missed opportunity, it could ultimately allow the DC to introduce him much sooner than expected. I can't wait to see how they do it. And that wraps up today's video. If you want to stay updated on all the latest movie news, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. By doing so, you'll stay in the loop with all our future updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Remember, we're always open to your suggestions for future videos, so feel free to leave them in the comments below.